Is there another country that maybe surprised you the most that you weren't expecting to like as much as you did?
I seem to be talking about Asia today. Japan surprised me in several ways, and we don't even have a program there. But it surprised me because despite the fact that Tokyo has, 35 million people, and we think of it as being very cosmopolitan and modern, it was insular for hundreds of years. And so it feels people are very connected to their culture and their language and their communities in a way that to experience as a visitor is pretty magical. And I feel like a lot of our programs, what we're going for, while we do service and we're volunteering, I really don't like those words for what we're doing. I really feel like it's more about connection
Mm.
than charity. It's really more about how you interact with human beings and not just from a consumer's perspective where you're going and taking photos of churches and museums and eating their foods and getting off and on public transport, but getting to know families, their food, singing with them, getting to know the real challenges and beauties of a culture. And so for a place like Japan, which is awfully far from North America, but it has so many amazing, I mean, they're so welcoming to people who aren't from their culture and forgiving in so many ways. I remember the first time I took my kids, my girls are out of the house. When they were little, I remember putting a ponytail in their hair. And by the end of the day, it's like at the end and their hair is frizzing all over. And even though it seems like everywhere we went, everyone was so put together and so clean, people treated us humanely and patiently and lovingly, even though I feel like we were always looking like a wreck with, spilled ice cream and everything else on our clothes. I would say, I guess Japan really surprised me. I suppose any country has surprised me. There's something about every country that's interesting that we try and flesh out with the structure of our program, focusing on what are those things that people just wouldn't know. Like in Costa Rica, we'll ask on a Monday, did you know that in Costa Rica, we don't use traditional snail mail addresses? How do people get Amazon packages? What do they do? Well, you basically write a paragraph, right? So we have a discussion about how is that possible in a modern functioning society and thinking about what does that mean when you travel someplace and get a chance to see how they can logistically get through day-to-day things in a way that's so different from the way we might do them at home.
Yeah, you certainly learn a lot. And I love that you mentioned this whole, is it serving, is it taking, or is it connecting? Because I think that you could just say, I go and I serve and I did something that I can, have a tax write-off for or check the good person box list. And then there's going to a trip as a total tourist and just taking, like you said, the pictures, the food. Thanks for giving me a good vacation and cultural experience. Then, like you said, there's connecting, where you're really connecting with the locals and the culture and you're learning from things and you're immersing yourself. And that is where there's giving and there's taking. Like you said, the Japanese people are giving something to you and you're giving something to them.